All right, class.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, weak soup, you guys. Weak soup. Okay. Last test of the semester. I'm going to show you how to do these things, and a majority of it is if you know how to use the calculator, you're going to be amazing. The free response, you have to know your 5 steps. The 5 steps, that's it. Go through 5 steps, we're good to go. Graph the function. This is probably going to be one of the harder ones out of all of them, is graphing the whole thing. So, cosecant, we know cosecant is what we learned in 4.4. That's where it gets used. It's upside down, right? It's the upside downs. So, for this, all the same rules apply as if it was sine or cosine. My board's not on, so. Okay. So, let's go through step by step. And so, hopefully, you guys memorize those steps. So, step 1. What's step 1? Amplitude. What's the amplitude here? Oh, wow, that is way too big. All right, amplitude is going to be 1. Step 2.
Period.
And for cosecant, which is the reciprocal of sine, okay, sine has a period of what? 2 pi over b. 2 pi over b. So sine, cosine, secant, cosecant are all 2 pi over b. What is the b in this case? 1. So it's just 2 pi over 1, which is 2 pi. And step 3 is my parts. Now, does this one here have a phase shift?
Yeah.
My phase shift is
Pi over 3.
negative pi over 3. Remember, it's opposite. So it's minus my PS. So it's going to be 0 times 2 pi minus pi over 3. I wonder if I can actually make this one even. There we go. Okay. Quarter times 2 pi minus pi over 3. Half times 2 pi minus pi over 3. 3/4 times 2 pi minus pi over 3. And 1 times 2 pi minus pi over 3. If you have trouble with the fractions, what do I got to do to make that better? Make it easier. Put it in the calculator, right? But I can't put it in the calculator exactly. What do I got to change?
The pi to 1.
Change the pi to 1, right? And when I do that, I do my math. And what do I do with the pi? Slap it on the end. Slap it on the end and say, good game. Okay? So, put it in the calculator, but instead of putting pi, it's just a 1. So you don't need, so like if you're going to do this first one, it's going to be 1/4 times 2, because 2 times 1 is just 2, right? Minus 1 over 3. And your calculator will do the fraction for you. So that is, actually the first one is right here. So that one's going to give me just negative pi over 3. The one after that is going to be, let me see, that is over 2. That's negative pi over 6.
Would it be positive?
Is it? I might screw up here. So that is going to be pi over 2. Oh, you're right. You're right. Positive pi over 6. Thank you. Next one is going to be is that 5 pi over 6?
You got 2 pi over 3.
2 pi over 3 for the next one? 1 pi. Yeah, 2 pi over 3. That's 5 pi over 6, right?
7 or 6.
7 pi over 6? Hey, I'm sucking at this one. Five pi over 3. Positive 5 pi over 3?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right. So that's the start of this. And then that's step up to step 3. Step 4, I go through graph and the plugin, all that stuff. So right here, I'm going to go and start putting my things on my graph. So my first one's negative pi over 3, which is, I say it's right here. Because why not? Positive pi over 6, and then way over here at the end is 5 pi over 3. There, there, there. Pi over 6. 2 pi over 3. 7 pi over 6. So I set up the graph. I started with wherever I'm starting at here, negative pi over 3. I ended at 5 pi over 3, and I quartered those up. So I put a half and then a half of a half. Alrighty, so next step is going to be plug it in, right? So, and this one is going to be for the sine. I'm going to treat it like it is y equals sine of x plus pi over 3. All right, so my first one I'm doing is going to be sine at negative pi over 3 plus pi over 3. And this one you could just plug in the calculator as is to get your end answer. Or if you are trying to do the mental math, negative pi over 3, positive pi over 3 should give me 0. Unit circle, 0 is all the way to the right. And sine is asking for the y value if it's all the way to the right, and that's going to be 0. And if you plugged it into the calculator, you got 0, right? Hopefully? Good. Sine at pi over 6 plus pi over 3. So that's going to give me,
Would it be 0 and then pi over 6?
did we have 0 as one of our answers? I didn't think we had 0 as an answer.
Doesn't it start from the negative and then across?
Yeah. But was 0 one of our answers?
No.
Yeah, 0 wasn't one of our parts. So I'm only plugging in the parts. So I plug in the negative pi over 3, and the next one was pi over 6. That's why. So yes, I would if 0 would be one of my points that I'm plugging in for my parts. But yeah, that one's not. All right, so let me see. That's going to be 2 pi over 6 plus 1, that's 3 pi over 6, which is pi over 2. Now, unit circle, pi over 2, that is located straight up. So what is the y value straight up at pi over 2? 1, right? Or if you're plugging in the calculator, you get 1. Sine, it's over 3. Or something over 3, right? 2 pi over 3. Two pi over 3 plus 1 pi over 3 should give me 3 pi over 3. 3 pi over 3 reduces. 3 over 3 reduces to just 1 pi. Sine at 1 pi, which is all the way to the left of my unit circle, which is going to give me 0. Am I going too fast? Am I confusing anyone? Or am I making you go to sleep because I'm just that boring? You're good?
Yeah.
Just tired, right? Something over 6. 7 pi. So that's going to give me 9 pi over 6. So 9 pi over 6 will reduce to 3 over 2. 3 pi over 2 is straight down on my unit circle. So the y value straight down is going to be -1. And then sine at over 3, 5 pi over 3. And it's going to leave me with 6 pi over 3, which is 2 pi. 2 pi is all the way to the right on my unit circle. Sine all the way to the right is going to give me 0. Let's go back. So now, negative pi over 3, I ended up getting 0. At pi over 6, I got 1. At 2 pi over 3, I got 0. At 7 pi over 6, I got -1. And at 5 pi over 3, I got 0. Remember, I'm treating this as if it is a sine right now, but since it's cosecant, right here on this, everywhere that's going to be on the baseline, the 0, those are going to be asymptotes. All the zeros are going to be asymptotes. So since those are the asymptotes, my minimum is going to go down. And the maximum is going to go up. Like that. Yes, no, maybe? So like I said, these are probably going to be one of the longer ones because the other one's only asking for certain steps. Questions so far? All right. Let's keep going, man. Tangent. So tangent is one of those special ones. Step 1 is my amplitude. And my amp in this case is what? It's 2 over 5, right? It's the number in front of tangent, cotangent. And period. What is it?
2 pi over 3.
Not 2 pi over 3. Pi over 3. Because tangent and cotangent, they have a period of pi. So this is going to be pi over 3. So it's pi over b, which is pi over 3 in this case. And tangent and cotangent have start and ends. Start and ends. So start. So where is the start for tangent? Anyone recall, what's the start on tangent? Negative pi over 2, right? Negative pi over 2. And the end, positive pi over 2. So those are important to remember. So tangent, cotangent have start and ends. And cotangent, what would be the start for cotangent? That one was 0, and the end is pi. So this one's slightly different since I have this here. So I have start and end, and then I don't have any phase shifts, so I don't have to add a phase shift to this. But what I do have, so my start is negative pi over 2. End, positive pi over 2. And let's find those parts in between. So it's going to be period divided by 4. So my period in this case was pi over 3. Did I forget something here?
Don't you know we're supposed to be?
Yeah, it's divided by b, isn't it? Start and end divided by b. I was like, wait a minute, this is not right. So if it's period divided by 4, it's not going to work out right. So my period anyway was pi over 3 divided by 4. It's going to give me pi over 3 times 1 over 4 equals pi over 12. So yes, so the start and end I messed up on right here. So it's supposed to be negative pi over 2 divided by 3 over 1. So negative pi over 2 times 1 over 3, negative pi over 6. Same thing goes for the end. So it's going to be positive pi over 2 divided by 3. Pi over 2 times 1 over 3 is positive pi over 6. So I messed up over here, so I will fix that. Negative pi over 6, positive pi over 6. Wow, that's horrible. And so each one of my steps is pi over 12. So from here, negative pi over 6 plus pi over 12 is going to give me a negative pi over 12. Add it again. Plus pi over 12 is going to give me 0. Plus pi over 12 is going to give me a positive pi over 12. There we go. So my start and my end are both asymptotes. Those are both asymptotes there. And let's do the plug-in. So I already know the answer at negative pi over 6. It's going to be undefined. So now I'm going to plug in the next one, which is 2/5 tan 3x. That's going to give me negative 3 pi over 12, which reduces to negative pi over 4. So on my unit circle, negative pi over 4 goes backwards. Right? It goes backwards on my unit circle, so negative pi over 4 should be in quadrant 4. So I look backwards pi over 4. The y value is negative. The x value is positive. And at negative pi over 4, right here, you'll end up having a negative 1. So whenever we're doing the tangent and cotangent, I'm using the values that are going to give me either 1, negative 1, or 0. That's all I'm going to plug in. That's all I should be getting out of this. So that's going to give me a negative 1. Negative 1 times 2/5 is negative 2/5. So if you plug this into the calculator, you will get the same answer. Next one is 2 over 5 tangent 3 times 0. So 3 times 0 is 0, tangent at 0, y over x, the y value is 0, the x value is 1. That is going to be 0 times 2/5 is 0. My next one is 2 over 5 tangent 3 positive pi over 12. It's going to give me positive pi over 4. Positive pi over 4 is going to be quadrant 1. That is my x and y are both rad 2 over 2. They're both positive, so that's going to give me 1. Sine over cosine, it's going to give me 1 times 2/5 is a positive 2/5. So my points, let's call this one 2 over 5, negative 2 over 5. So my first one is negative, so it would put a point right here, then 0, and then right here. There we go. So my graph over one period. Now, what if I'm completely and totally lost on how to do this? What could you try and do? Do you have a calculator? Can you try and graph it to try and see where your stuff is supposed to end up at? Kinda. It's just the asymptotes don't come up very well when you graph these. But you can see the direction and you can see what it is supposed to look like. Find the period and phase shift of this. All right. Let's go through, ask a couple things. So first, let's start with 1, amplitude. The amp is going to be 2 over 3. Step 2 is period. So for sine, it's always 2 pi over b. What is the b in this case? So my period is going to be 2 pi over, yep. The phase shift. To be able to get the phase shift, what do I have to do first? What do I have to do for the phase shift? I got to factor out the b. So I have to divide by 3 first to get the phase shift by itself. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. So it's going to be a 3 quantity x plus Now, pi over 6 divided by 3, that's the same as saying multiplying by 1/3. So I'm multiplying the 6 times 3. So if I take this and divide that by 3, it's going to be 1 over 3, so it's going to be pi over 18. So the phase shift here is it positive pi over 18? It's negative, right? It's negative because it's going to be the opposite of what the sign is. Next one. Find the phase shift and the vertical translation. All right, vertical translation moves it moves where? Up and down, right? Up and down. What number is going to make this one move up and down?
4.
4 is the amplitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the amplitude. So if that's the amplitude, this number over here all by itself is going to be my vertical shift. So it's going to be -1. So my vertical shift, -1, and phase shift, right? So let's do the phase shift again. So my phase shift is 1/2 x plus pi over 2. To get the phase shift, I have to factor out a 1/2 here, right? So it's going to be a 1/2 quantity x plus, and so if I'm dividing by 1/2, isn't that the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, right? So dividing by 1/2 is same as multiplying by 2, right? So if I multiply pi over 2 by 2, what do I get? It's going to get, if I multiply it, it's going to, remember, it's going to be on the top, so it's going to be pi by itself, right? So it is just going to be pi. So if you're struggling with this, again, I can put it in the calculator. It's just when you do the pi, replace it with 1. So it's going to be 1/2 divided by 1/2 is going to give you just 1 pi, and you slap the pi on the end. So the phase shift in this case is going to be -1 pi. -1 pi. Don't forget, you got to slap it on the end. If you don't say good game, it's weird. Yeah. A little bit louder.
Can you go to the one right before it?
This one, up higher. Right there? All right, yes.
So the vertical shift is just on the outside.
Yeah, it's the number out there all by itself. It's not multiplying by your sine, cosine, tangent. Yeah, that's it. That's going to be the vertical shift. All right, other than that, make sure you guys all like, share, and subscribe. You can hit that notification button. Use promo code earlybird, 10% off the merch store.